Now, there is a danger to awakening, and that is a superiority complex where you've elevated to a certain state where you believe that you are better than another person. While I call people who are unconscious derpers, that's an attempt at making people wake up to realize their activities. It is not demeaning by any means. And the whole point of this is when a person develops a sense of superiority, they alienate themselves and they lose their humanity. Next thing you know, they are off by themselves, secluded, totally in nature, thinking they're elevated, while it is the journey through life and connecting with other peoples that shows you the shadow that continues your growth. The Buddha thought that he had all the answers, and he went into nature to meditate, and through the realization of realizing the fastest way to enlightenment is to surround yourself with other people that trigger the shadow within inside you. The point of life is to move through it with the ebbs and flows without judgment, seeing the mirror the universe is showing you till you awaken. And when you don't awaken, it shows you pain, fears, and stressors in the form of health challenges, money struggles, and relationship issues. That's the point of relationships in the first place, is to awaken you. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. And when you're triggered by these things, you're angry, we judge others, next thing we know, those are the shadow parts of you that you're actually suppressing. Otherwise, you would not be angry and be judgmental. You would understand why people act the way they act. Now, it doesn't mean you have to keep those people in your life, but it does mean that you have to look at the shadow that's occurring that you're attracting in your life. And why is it that you have the response of anger and frustration? So when we get in this state of elevation, understanding that we are awakened and at a higher level of vibration and consciousness, knowing the ins and outs of why things happen and behaviors of society, if you were to be in that superiority complex, all of a sudden now there is a separation that actually causes this type of thought virus. It's called a killer thought virus that actually judges other people, puts them down, and now you're suppressing them, and it leads to war and combativeness, and it escalates, and there's hatred, and there's killing, and that's where it becomes dangerous to feel like you are better than others. You've elevated to that state, because after all, everything is all connected in that quantum realm, all coming from the same source energy. Now, where you're at and the way the mirror is showing you in the universe, I want to show you what's actually occurring, because there's patterns and there's a flow to this. So this pattern and this flow of life is actually occurring through sequences. So what we have is, if you look, there's a triad of health, and that's your emotions, your biochemistry, your structure, and it's your spirit, right? Those things are called the triad of health. And that energy that's in that triad of health, when you are internalized, denied, or disconnected from your power centers of your thoughts, feelings, and actions, is the thing that causes an expression. And that expression is the thing that stops the energy from flowing through your meridians. And it's emotional, it's structural, that's held in bones, cartilage, ligaments, muscles, joints, organs, fascia, lymphatic circulation, nerves, entanglement, scar tissue, fat tissue, or body fluids. Or it could be biochemical. And that biochemical reaction or that structure is holding onto that energy, and it's not allowing it to flow. That Merkaba isn't distributing that energy. What it is a resistor to the flow of life, because you internalized, denied, or disconnected from emotions. You thought you were superior. You weren't paying attention to the mirror. You lost your humility. So understanding that even no matter how enlightened you are, there's usually another step. And you're not subject to having life be perfect at all times. Doesn't mean you don't experience painful events to transcend. All it means is that you can process it. Consciousness is the ability to discern. It is your ability to respond without reaction. That is what causes the energy to flow through your life, because you're not resisting the things that happen. You can't control what happens to you. You can only control your response. And how others treat you is their path, but how you react is yours. So when we get that resistance to the flow of life through our meridians, the fire, the earth, the metal, the water, the wood, they're all held within emotions that are affecting our biochemistry, affecting our structure, and affecting our brain and our emotional health. Then we get a holding pattern. And this is what's cool. This is what the universe is telling you. And this is how it tells you you have something that you've internalized, denied, or disconnected from. It manifests itself as in the mind, which is the chakra system. It's in your DNA. And that doesn't feed the cell. It manifests itself in your body, in an element, a cell, an organ, a gland, a pathogen, a sense, a system. Oh, that's right. Your emotions and the internalization, denial, disconnection affects the glands and the function of the glands. So it affects your hormones. It affects your organs and the way your body detoxifies and circulates your blood and creates your body's ability to utilize oxygen. It affects the cell and the ability to produce energy in your metabolism. It affects pathogens in a heightened state of awareness. You don't get ill. You are not a good host for a pathogen. So, I have a virus. The universe is telling me I feel unworthy somewhere in my life, and someone in that world that you want to say is a bad person is actually giving you a message. None of this is done consciously, but it's telling you that there's a part of you that doesn't love yourself, and now you got a virus. Bacteria deals with guilt. You got mold and fungus, which is resentment. Parasites are fear, dread, and doom. Most, if not all, disease has an emotional root that's resisting the flow of life. And when you become superior or feel superior, you become subject to the exact thing you are trying to avoid, neglecting to see the own flaws and the universe's mirror it is showing you. So be wary of feeling like you are better than others and you're in an elevated, superior state as an ascended master and transcended past the events in life that others are going through right now. Teach others. Understand there is a time that people are not ready, willing, able, and eager. You can't help them. And sometimes you got to let them suffer because the ego has to die before they can get better. And if the ego doesn't die, they kill themselves. Unconsciously. Nobody wants to die consciously, but it's a manifestation they've created for themselves. And so their spirit has become suppressed. And there's no real death. Nobody really dies. There's reincarnations, there's recirculating energy that just continues to move through, and the soul lives on forever. And that's why it's a celebration of life when someone passes on, because they're going to another state. If they don't get it right this lifetime, they'll get it right another lifetime. And it's the judgment that ends that process early, and sometimes there just has to be a reset, just like the earth has a reset. We've gone through, there's arguments, 5 ice ages, 15 ice ages, whatever it is. There's a cycle, right? Climate change is kind of nonsense. It's just the earth shifting on its poles, and it's the shift in the weather patterns, and it's all the wind that moves is just protonic energy moving electrons. Waves that move is the same thing. All these are just shifts in energy, including you, and including the events that occur. And understanding that the mind influences the planets and the stars' alignment. The stars' alignments affect you through your mind. It's reciprocal. Your mind and the way the synapses fire look identical to the galaxies and the stars' alignment. When you look at it through a telescope and you look and you see a galaxy and then you compare it to the synaptic activity, oh my God, it's reciprocal. As far as I'm concerned, we could be the bacteria of a bigger organism, just like the bacteria are part of our organism. Right? There's levels to this. There's different dimensions to this. And your mind is the gateway. And nothing changes when you feel like you are superior and you exclude others and look down on them. So just because you are a derper at this moment does not mean that you could not become the Ascended Master. Everyone eventually becomes the Ascended Master. There's great power within you. And that great power comes realization of why you suffer through events in life of painful relationships, money struggles, and health challenges. So what I want you to do is quit blaming the outside world for your problems. What are the beliefs that you hold within yourself? Because once you recognize that 30 million kilovolts of electricity that's only been restricted through your Merkaba because of your belief systems, all of a sudden that health challenge doesn't need to be there anymore, it doesn't need to exist. You create great love in your life. And you have so much love within you, people come and people go, and it doesn't ever affect you. You just go with the flow of life. You don't resist it anymore. You get to experience abundance. The universe just provides for you because you're not in your ego, you're living in your heart. And as you live in your heart, you do as your mission is told to do as a spiritual being having this human experience here. And then everything's provided for you. You don't have to have these things. The reason the boom and bust cycles occur in life is because your ego is involved and you had to have these things to have value for yourself so you could prove yourself, so you could get laid, and so you could drive the fancy car and have that dude down the street be jealous. None of that stuff even mattered. You can have all that stuff. You want to enjoy life. You can have everything but live through your heart. There's a way to do things. And the health challenges are that mirror that's helping us with our ascension. So never, ever think that you are completely done, because there's levels to it. And there's usually going to be more and more and more lessons. We get to a point where life is easier, and that's an amazing place to be. But go to nature, change the lighting in your house, listen to your heart, find yourself in silence, put yourself back in society, use it as a mirror, and heal. Everything around you is speaking to you in the love language of the universe, as far as in the form of pains, fears, and challenges in your life. Embrace those things with love, because through that you transcend and life becomes amazing. But never, ever think that you've reached an endpoint where you're better than anyone else.